Okay, hey there guys, this is going to be a pretty quick war. It's only like 3 fights if I remember correctly. So I have Apocalypse for this war, which is a champion I really enjoy using, but I don't get to bring him too much because for a while he's been on defense, but this season he got taken off of defense and I was told I'd get to use him a fair bit, so that's really fun. So I boosted fairly well for this fight. I used like Power Star 1. I also used Mutant Power Back boosts, which if you haven't used them with Apocalypse, they don't always necessarily seem like they would be the best like fit, because you do a lot of damage through red damage with Apocalypse, which doesn't count for the power back boost, but especially if you're boosted. And I could have turned on suicides in theory for like this war. I probably should have, I guess, because Apocalypse, especially with the suicides, your base damage hits so hard that you gain back so much power with the mutant power boosts, so you can actually cycle SP2s with Apocalypse. This fight is pretty simple, so it's path 5, so right, I want to knock him down before I launch my special 2, but before that, I need to get rid of all of his rock stacks so I don't take damage. Apocalypse is really good for Korgs. I mean, like, everyone kind of knows that at this point, I feel like. So all I'm kind of trying to do is I'm just trying to land a parry, and I was just like struggling really badly. But Apocalypse is great for this lane as a whole. Unfortunately, I timed it where his rock stacks came right back as like I actually go in to like hit him with my feet part, so I took a little bit of damage there. The concussions didn't quite save me, and that was so dumb. I did it when he has max limber. I should have probably been punished there, but he came back in at me, so that was really good. But I lost a lot of damage because he had protection up, so now I'm just like, okay, I'll just get my debuffs, I'll keep the debuffs on, and I again throw it right as rock stacks come back and right as protection comes back. Now protection's gone for good though because of my concussion. Ability accuracy reduction can turn off the protection on lane 5 permanently if you have it up while it recovers. But because Apocalypse isn't minus 100%, it doesn't always happen. That's why like those first few times it didn't happen. So here I'm just kind of trying to like drop the rock stacks and launch my special 1 or 2, whichever I have at the time, and it's a special 2, and that was a lot of overkill. So the power back boosts work pretty well with Apocalypse, obviously. So that was a pretty fun fight. It was pretty simple. There wasn't like too much stress in it. Now I just have to wait for my section 2 to get opened up. So I had to pop on another boost, and I'm using a pretty similar idea here. So this time it's actually with Hercules. I still have the mutant power boost on for the Nick Fury that's coming up later. Hercules for this fight. So we were talking about this, right? I used Captain America Infinity War in the previous video, or the video before that, for White Magneto. But in this war, I couldn't really bring Captain America. There was a reason I couldn't bring him. It just wasn't going to work as well. So, but Hercules wasn't banned this time. So what I wanted to kind of try and do with Hercules in this fight was, if you notice, I put on the invulnerability boost before this fight, because I'm not always the best at dexing the Magneto SP1, SP2, whatever you want to call it. It's Magneto White's SP1, and it can be unblockable because of all of his prowesses. We thought about using like Nimrod and stuff, but because of high ground we didn't want to. But if I use the invulnerability, I can literally just eat 3 of them in the face without worrying about the prowess, without worrying about any damage. There would be no high ground repercussions, nothing. So that was kind of the idea. Here I obviously get tagged 3 times, so I'm like, okay, I cannot do that. But I have my 3 precisions with the SP2, and when you have 3 precisions with an SP2 with Hercules, you're just about going to finish off a fight unless it's like super high HP. So that fight went very, very well. I finished on 100%, not a full yellow bar 100%, but 100% is 100% in my opinion. Like, I wouldn't need to use a potion for the next fight. Apocalypse, it doesn't look like he lost that much health, like percentage-wise, but his health pool was so high when boosted. He was literally like 10,000 HP under. I don't know why I went into that. So because of Hard Knock Life, I end up doing something a little bit, what ends up kind of biting me in the butt, but I'm going to check my boosts here. So I'm like, okay, I want to make sure that my invulnerability boost didn't fall off. I'm like, okay, I have a minute left on it. Perfect. Power Start 1 would have also been a very acceptable boost for this fight, but you'll see what happens, and so it ends up being a very good thing I have invulnerability boost on. So for this fight, I just kind of want to get up to my SP2, and I want to just nuke it. I just want to try to do as much damage as I can. I kind of forgot about the regen that I'd be getting there, but I still should heal. I was like 10,000 health down, and I decided to try to get on my disorient immunity, but I lost a lot of ground going for that, and then I wanted to try to like bait his SP2s, so I end up just losing a ton of ground on this map. So I get him up to the SP2, he only has 3 tactical charges. That's pretty good, and I'm baiting pretty well here. I feel like I'm baiting like very well, like my block's not up for most of it. I'm dancing against the wall, I'm like, okay, let's get a bit of space, and I can't really hit his block too much or else I'll stun him and I'll give him more power again. So I mentioned, I'm just like, I have the invulnerability boost on, right? So, F it, let's go in, right? So I go for that, and I get the SP1, so I'm holding block to try to make it so he doesn't, but he still throws the SP3, and this is where the invulnerability boost comes into play. Because I have it on, I'm able to just push him up to the SP3, and this is only the first hit gone of the invulnerability boost. So I could even do that more times, and that gave me a ton of power, so now I'm almost at 2 bars of power, and he's just about dead. So here's where the critical part of the Nick Fury fight really begins. It's what do you do after he goes into LMD. I can't break his block anymore, so I want to try to bait out this SP2 before I start doing really anything here. I don't want to have to use another hit of the indestructible boost if I can avoid it. I pop indestructible boost, but I always try to play as if I don't have one, so that way if a mistake actually happens, I'm still good to go. And right here, I'm right below 1 bar of power, so that way no matter what, no matter how much damage I do, I have another special. So he throws it, and I'm able to do that. And that'll just about finish it up for this war. Kenobi is obviously a tough alliance, so I was told to boost big for this war, and I did. The score ended 5-4. It was a very tight war. It was a good war from Kenobi and from us, I think. So I'll see you guys soon.